Gotcha, bitch!
Aristotle, one of the greatest thinkers the world has ever produced, got a lot of fundamentals wrong. He believed that the material world could be summarized by four elements: water, fire, earth, and air. He was wrong about the fundamental forces of motion as well. However, he was right about one thing: octopus sticks. That's right, centuries before modern scientists could confirm it, Aristotle took time out of his busy schedule thinking about metaphysics and shitting on democracy to learn that the male octopus can use one of his arms as a dong. In his foundational book on zoology, The History of Animals, Aristotle puts octopus and squid as creatures belonging to the lower end of natural complexity. But alas, he was wrong about this. As it is widely known today, octopi, octopuses, octopodes, whatever the plural is, along with cuttlefish and to a lesser extent squid or squids, are some of the smartest creatures on the planet, with remarkable abilities when it comes to problem solving, dexterity, and camouflage. And I'm still not fully convinced that they're from Earth either. They have a sort of alien-like appearance that break nearly all the rules that you typically think of when you consider that of an intelligent animal. They're not mammals or even vertebrates. They belong to the group cephalopods or cephalopods. No fur, they don't have milk, they don't take part in raising their offspring, and oftentimes they even die after reproducing, and their life expectancy is only about 1 to 2 years. On top of that, nearly 2/3 of their neurons are not even in their brain but spread out in a quasi-decentralized manner. So I guess you could say that one of his arms acts as a limb, a dick, and a brain all at the same time. I told you it was weird. This weirdness has inspired fascination, reverence, and fear from maritime cultures all over the world. Long before Aristotle was walking upon the salty shores of Greece, these rocky creatures inspired the Minoans on the island of Crete, as displayed on their pottery. On the near other side of the world, Polynesians of Hawaii believed the octopus to be survivors of the past created universe, which was cycled through periods of destruction and rebirth, resulting in our latest current world. Given how bizarre the octopus is, it's not surprising that some Polynesians, who are far more familiar with the oceans than anyone else, would consider the octopus to be an anomaly, something literally from a different universe, or at the very least a past universe, I suppose. The Roman Finley the Elder, the proto-founder of what we consider to be the encyclopedia today, took a particular interest in giant squids, which were oftentimes found washed up on the shore. Remains of these washed up squid and octopi inspired myths, more so than science during this period of time, as their unusual appearance and life under the depths of the mysterious sea meant that they oftentimes conveyed a sense of mystery and fear of the unknown. Looking back at the old maps, you will oftentimes see images of cephalopods in remote oceans where only the bravest of souls would venture. And if they ever did come back alive, barely anyone could call BS on their tall tales. These tales would be fueled by globsters on the shore. Globsters are quite possibly the most underrated word in the English language. They refer to piles of organic matter clumped up and washed up on the shore, oftentimes in the form of tattered carcasses of large sea-dwelling creatures. These grotesque abominations of rotting ocean matter probably fueled people's imaginations of the type of monsters that existed deep under the waves. In most cases, these globsters were not sea monsters, but rather, well, whales and squid. It is not surprising that whales and squid were most prominently featured in the builds for sea monsters. After all, this makes sense since giant squids are the largest invertebrates in terms of length, while the colossal squid is heavier than the giant squid, and its range in Antarctica meant that it was far away from people, so it probably didn't play a significant role in inspiring these tales. The most famous cephalopod sea monster is most likely the Kraken from Scandinavia. On the other side of the frigid world of Antarctica, sailors from these cold Scandinavian waters during the 1700s made up this myth, showing that myths aren't necessarily ancient tales. Some of them can emerge in a time of scientific exploration. It is rather interesting that the Kraken is not some sort of pre-modern ancient superstition that emerged during the times of yonder, but rather a series of tall tales that emerged as Europeans had already embraced the scientific revolution. Given how many people still believe in Bigfoot to this day, we should not judge. This would later inspire modern pieces of literature, such as Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and H.P. Lovecraft's, creating the sci-fi horror genre, including the god known as Cthulhu, the almighty destructive deity which combines features of an octopus, a dragon, and a humanoid. From that point on, their appearance simply became a staple of science fiction. Given that real cephalopods aren't that big, and that the animals make pretty unconvincing villains since they lack agency, most of these fictional depictions, particularly in movies, were, well, garbage. 1977's Tentacles was trash, along with 2000's Octopus, and its sequel, 2006's Megashark vs. Giant Octopus, all of which had the artistic merit of a drawing in a high school toilet stall. The greatest popular octopus icon would probably be Squidward from SpongeBob, forever immortalized in millions of memes. And while I'm ashamed to even acknowledge the existence of this, octopi have oftentimes found a special place in Japanese pop culture for, let's just say, things that I would get demonetized for. In more recent years, as our knowledge of them and the oceans they dwell in has improved, there's been less emphasis on the fear they induce and more interest in their intelligence. Given that their favorite prey animal are crabs and other creatures that tend to live in hard-to-reach spots, cephalopods have had the ability to locate their prey, maneuver through tight areas, and have to be able to pry open exoskeletons to get food. These skills not only require strength, but also a high degree of spatial intelligence, navigation, and problem-solving abilities. Many captive octopi have also been known to crawl out of aquariums. They can crawl on land and then go to another aquarium, feed upon crabs in that new aquarium, and then go back to their own aquarium. That's how smart they are. Given that they are carnivorous animals, they needed to develop tactics and methods of hunting, which oftentimes makes it harder for them to obtain calories than, say, eating plant matter or being a filter feeder. Thereby, animals that hunt tend to have higher intelligence than those who don't. And like us intelligent humans, they have excellent dexterity. Cephalopod brains are also large when compared to their body, and it's quite interesting how their nervous system is rather diffuse. They are also one of the few non-human animals which use tools, the most notable of which are coconut shells, oftentimes used as shields and as camouflage. So far, however, no octopus has passed the mirror test, in which animals look at themselves in the mirror and recognize themselves, arguably showing that the species is capable of sentience and a sense of self-consciousness. Granted, this may be due to limitations when it comes to their eyesight rather than their cognitive abilities. After all, the mirror test is mostly set up for mammals. There are still more studies that need to be made, and this brings us to the question as to whether or not it's ethical to eat these creatures. After all, they're very popular when it comes to seafood items. There are already a great deal of controversies over the treatment of cattle and chickens, yet cephalopods haven't aroused the same level of concern despite being far more intelligent. I'm personally betting that they're so smart that they're really just hiding how truly intelligent they are. And maybe they're just planning their path for world domination.